This is the first part of the book Firecrackers, Fuse number 1. It was 1961. The search for my father was about to begin. I was 8 years old, just another poof that, together with millions of others, made a baby boom. I'd lived and played as kids usually did and were told to do. Adults called me a good kid, because I would always be seen and not heard. David, get in the car, or David, pick up your room, was all that was needed to be said, and it would get done. My family was on our way to another home that year. We'd lived in 5 since I was born. Because kids of that era didn't know anything, I had no idea my parents were crazy that way. Their craziness was in, as I know now, tearing free of community connections in an old place and believing their lives started all over in a new one. Mom thought the only ignorant folks couldn't understand. She had her own way of laughing it off when asked for a reason. Elaine, this is ridiculous. Why in heavens are you moving again? My grandmother Irene liked asking questions like that, ones that were likely to end up in a big argument. Whenever the oven needs to be cleaned, we move. Since that shut my grandmother up, no easy task, I trusted that to be a good reason. I never noticed that my grandmother was fuming too much to answer. She kind of always looked like she was fuming a little. So for the first 8 years of my life, I believed families regularly left for a new place when the oven could do with a little oven cleaner. The joke of kitchen appliances setting the deadline for leaving Dodge City, which I'd never seen but only heard the expression, was not funny or spoken at the end of our stay in our last home. This was different. We were all sad in our own ways. A little inter-island prop plane had lifted us gently away from Hanapepe, a speck of a town on the south coast of the island of Kauai in the Hawaiian Islands. The practically always dozing community had been divided by a slow-moving, broad green and brown river, which ran out over a soothing, white sand beach and into the Pacific Ocean. My sisters and I lived in fear, while we were there, of a 40-foot-tall, big mango tree in our backyard. It tried to drop big yellow fruits on us. Of course, the sometimes stiff trade winds helped a little. My best friend had been an old Japanese man who lived across from our backyard and had a dozen tables packed with rare orchids. He grew and taught me to grow alien-looking flowers and served tea and cookies for us nearly every day. I remembered the smell of dark earth and peat moss on his khaki shirt as he hugged me tight before we left for the Lihue airport. The flight from Lihue and another from Honolulu delivered our family of 5 to a single room of an ugly motel within range of the gritty diesel smoke of the Port of Los Angeles, California. After the long, boring airplane rides, my father needed some personal space in the small motel room. "Go play," was his order, and his second most obedient and eager servant. My mother was definitely the first most obedient and eager servant to my father. She made the whole family operation run like a well-oiled machine. "Okay, Dad," I said, and ran out the door without any questions. Until our car and other belongings arrived on a ship, the parking lot of the motel was my actual residence for most of the days. I played sailors and pirates alone. "What do you do with dunking sailors early in the morning?" My understanding of the old seafaring song was not perfect, but fit with what I was playing. Parked cars were rocky shores I crashed against while pretending to sail around the gravel lot. My head would conk lightly against a rearview mirror. That meant my pirate ship had been sunk by the English Navy. "Pakoosh" was the sound effect for conch-crashing my ship, I would slide down the side of the car and plop onto the gravel. Then my body extended face down in the gravel as I sprayed and kicked dust and rocks, pretending to swim away from the sinking ship and Her Majesty's pirate hunters, while holding on to a tri-corner hat, really a baseball cap, and a saber, just a long splinter of wood. My clothes and arms took a terrible beating. I had to swim fast enough through the gravel to the planter wall so as not to sink to the bottom of the ocean. The planter that ran next to the motel rooms was a desert island where I had to wait for a passing pirate ship to pick me up. Because of the gritty neighborhood, no one seemed to mind a little kid swimming in the parking lot gravel. "Help me! Someone help me! I'm stranded!" I would shout, balancing one foot on the brick wall of the planter. Now that was a cause for a response. A scary-looking man threw open the motel room door and yelled at me, "Damn it, shut the hell up unless you're really in trouble." The calls for help continued, but only in whispers that other pirates could hear. The big horns of real ships traveling into and out of the harbor were signals that my bloodthirsty friends had arrived to help me on my way. I was on my way across the Pacific Ocean. Each day I took hours to imagine getting to the same place, the Hawaiian Islands. Each day my best friend on Kauai, the old Japanese man who grew orchids, would welcome me home, even though I would show up with a pirate hat on my head and a bloody saber in my hand. I would pretend to drop the saber and run to him. In fact, I hugged a spindly tree near the sidewalk. The old Japanese man's wrinkled, sunburned arms would hold me once again. His tea-stained smile seemed to linger in the air, up on the skinny tree trunk, where it would have been on the old man.